I always love the look of a good clean V8, don't you? But somehow this one really doesn't do. If you see it when we drive it, or if you looked at the underside of it, there's a whole bunch of oil and a lot of other problems that this engine has. If you've watched some of the other prior videos, you probably know what some of those are. And that will never do in RC the El Camino. He deserves better. And I'll give you a little hint. You can see it coming into view there. That is an engine hoist, cherry picker, whatever you want to call it. And that is what is one of the things that's involved next for RC. Let me see if I can walk you through them. This is the biggest thing that's happening to RC. It is a 400 cubic inch small block Chevy, but it has a lot of upgrades now, even though it's actually the original one that came out of RC. It has Edelbrock heads, E-Tech heads to be exact. It has a cam in it, and all the internals have been balanced and are slightly overboard. What you can see here, which I've already shown you in a different video, is also an Edelbrock EFI. This is the ProFlow 4 injection system. So as you know, we've been the rounds with RC with engines. This engine that I just showed you, it's back under the cover now, but that is the original engine, at least when I bought it, that was in it. The engine that's in it now is one that was built by somebody else, was in the Firebird or Trans Am, whatever you want to call it, that we put in here. It ran, or did run, on the stand beforehand, but we found out it had other problems. So now we've rebuilt the original engine and it's going back in. And that is what RC deserves. But we need to take you through the rest of all the things that we are doing to it, so it makes more sense as to where we're going. So the ProFlow 4 is not just fuel injection, it is also an engine management system. So it also comes with a new distributor, which you can control the timing with. This is the brains, which I'll have to figure out all the mounting for, and some various harnesses and connectors, things that we need for that. We don't really need to go through all those because we will, and when we start putting those in. Let me walk you through some of the other things that we're going to do here, some of the other parts that we have. We've got here an Edelbrock water pump. Some of you may be asking about the Edelbrock. I'm not necessarily just a big Edelbrock fan, but these seem to have some of the best reviews of the things that I've wanted to do to it. So I got a higher performance water pump for that engine. Here are some other various things. Right now we have a mechanical fuel pump on the engine. The fuel injection system runs at a high pressure and it's a return system. So we have a fuel pump block off plate. For the engine itself, we have a new dampener bolt, which I don't know if you saw it, but there's a new dampener on the engine itself. New flex plate bolts, along with a new flex plate. This is the tool to build up the oil pressure before we actually try and start it, so that will be good. These are actually just spark plugs. These are the shorter ones to go under the headers. with the engine control unit or engine management system. The Edelbrock needs a fuel pump. And this is the, let's see if we can get it all out of its boxes. Fuel pressure regulator. I won't need to pull out all the mounting for you, but the rest of it is the mounting system for that. In accordance with the new fuel system, we need to have a bunch of fuel fittings. This one happens to be, if you can see it in the case there, 90 degree. This is Russell brand. This is just actually a push-on, although I think I will probably, just for my own sanity, will probably put a hose clamp on it. This is the fuel line that goes with it. Doesn't look any different really. It does have a little bit of a different texture to it, and like I said, there's a certain way that you do it. Lubricate it and push it on, and it's supposed to stay on by itself up to a certain pressure, but I will probably end up being putting hose clamps on it so that I can have my sanity. This is a piece that I'd like you to see. Sorry about this. So in a previous video, which I'll try to see if I can link in the description here, up in the, I've never done it before, so hopefully I can put a link in there. But if I can't, if you go back and you see a previous video that I had on the El Camino, we did a change of the fuel sending unit in the tank. And at that time, I put in a new sending unit that had a return line on it as well. So I did that with the idea of putting in this fuel injection system. However, the return line on that fuel tank is only 1/4 inch. And according to Edelbrock, or at least the technical help at Summit Racing, with that Edelbrock system, a 1/4 inch return line is too small. So what I have here is made by Moroso. This is a return system that you put in line with the fuel filler neck in the car. You can see it feeds down one way, and that can be your return line. I haven't really showed you much about the exhaust system on RC because it's always had headers in there that we left, and they were good enough. Although I did do a film, and maybe I'll try and link that one as well, when I had to rebuild one of the headers because the welds had come loose and we were leaking exhaust everywhere. But I am upgrading that as well. The ones on it, if you pay attention in the videos, are very rusty. They're just the regular $200 headers. These, see if I can get them a little closer here. These are basically the same design, except that they are not just black painted. This is a black ceramic coating, so they won't rust or anything anywhere near as bad. And I would have to say that just judging from the welds that I see, that it is welded quite a bit better than what the other ones were. So we have those to go on there. These are quite expensive, or more expensive. And I'm much of a, I'm a thrifty. I don't like to spend a bunch of money. I found these on eBay through a company that had them. They were open box items. We got those cheaper. Now finally, last but not least, I'm going to try and not take this out of the plastic. Let me see if you can see that. Okay. So that, if you see it, which is a prindle, at least jokingly speaking, a lot of mechanics call that. I thought prindle was actually a word. It isn't. It has to do with park, reverse, neutral, drive, and low. So prindle. That's how they came up with it. But if you know what that is, then you maybe have an inkling as to what's in the box over here. This is just another small part. Here's another piece. There's several pieces. Once again, I really don't want to lose them, so I'm not going to take them all out of the bag. See if you can kind of see what they are here. Okay, so this is the pivot mount for the shifting fork. This is the shifting fork itself. You see it? That's what turns the transmission to select the gears. And this long piece over here, it kind of half sticks out of the bag itself, is the linkage that comes down from the steering column and your shifter on that to put it into gear from that lever up there. The final piece is something that's not necessarily hard to find, but it's hard to find any information on that. And that is because we wanted to go back to a column shift, which is almost the opposite, I would say, of what everybody else in the world wants to do. We have a floor shifter in there, and it's big and clunky, and I don't mind it. My wife has a hard time shifting it, but the main thing is we needed, this is a shift, or a steering column, excuse me, out of the same year. It's a 1969 Chevelle, and these should all be, if I need parts, are good, but this right here is the main thing that I need. That shift lever, you can buy shift levers for aftermarket columns on eBay, but finding one for the standard one, these always get taken off and thrown away. And in fact, even when I bought this, I tried to get all the other linkage and went with the steering column, and all those just get thrown out because everybody goes from column shift to floor shift, and we want to go the other way around. So that will finish off our linkage. Sitting here on Little Blue, I'm going to tell you that this video is all about RC the El Camino and what we're going to do to him, or for him. It's what he deserves. But I also wanted to tell you that I'm going to do a few things differently on my video channel here. Mainly, I'm going to make the videos a little bit shorter. That's due to the way that I edit, or and many times don't edit the videos that I do. I tend to want to leave everything in, and it's all about what you take out. You want to leave in the pertinent information and take out the stuff that nobody wants to watch. And that's where I tend to fall down. So I think that I'm going to try and make things a little bit shorter, maybe more like 15 or 20 minutes. Something that you can have fun watching. Maybe we have an episode of taking out the old engine and putting in the new engine. Maybe we have an episode setting up the fuel system, one for the exhaust system, and then maybe one for the linkage on the column shift and putting in the new bench seats. Something that'll leave you maybe wanting a little bit more, and time to work on your four-wheel sickness. I'm not sure if it's a sickness, a dependency, a habit. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure that we're curing it like this or just feeding to it. But thanks for watching anyway.